Now, on the MPO side, Anthony Barela finally gets his win, his moment in the spotlight. It feels like a long time coming, but he's turning 24 this year. He was born in the year 2000. So, he's been playing for a long time, but this is really only his second year full touring, I believe. He was always kind of like touring part-time. But he has one of the highest ceilings in disc golf. He seemed very in control all weekend. Mm-hmm. It felt like it was going to take a collapse for him to lose. Like, it just felt like he was making the right choices. He was, scrambling when he needed to scramble. His putt looked dialed all weekend. And he had a moment that I thought it might have all slipped out of his hand on 17 in the final round. He threw OB, threw a second shot that probably should have went OB, but got a good kick out. And then he, threw a good shot from there and then missed the putt. And whereas Ricky was able to, I believe, take a par there. Easily could have spilled onto 18. 18's a very, very tricky hole. Lots of ways to go OB, and if you do go OB, it's pretty tough to get up and down for par, depending on where you go OB. And he had to par that hole because if Ricky birdied, he bogeyed, they're going to a playoff. And he executed 2 shots to perfection to give himself what all weekend would have been a birdie look, but he just laid up for the win. So very impressive there.
No, I like AB. Like, I like his playing just fine, but I'm not typically the person that's like a huge AB fan because his style just doesn't really match up with mine very much. He's not like the style guy, like personality wise, that I really like to invest in just because I like more of the goofy guys. That's just kind of how I am. But he did kind of like, he earned my fandom this weekend with mainly just because the interview afterwards, I feel like I saw like the emotion of like his raw emotion. I didn't feel like he was trying to be cool or anything like that. I just felt like he was like showing his emotion of how much that meant to him. And I thought that was really cool. I loved that interview with him.
It was definitely a big moment for him, for his career, and the quote I believe he put in there was like, all the losses are worth it now.
Yeah.
17 he collapses a little bit, right? Trevor tweets on 16. Well, this is the most, I don't know what was going through Trevor's head, because if you remember hole 16 European Open, that's when Anthony Barela had a major in his grasp and literally threw it away. Hole 16, Trevor, they're on hole 16, and Trevor tweets out, because at that point, AB was up by maybe 4. I think it was 4 at that point. And Trevor tweets out, I have my daughter's born and AB wins in the same weekend. What else does life have for me? And I responded. I immediately tweeted back at him like, did you seriously just tweet this while he's on hole 16? Like, are you just trying to jinx him? And as I send that tweet, hole 17 happens. And the collapse starts. And I was like, Trevor, like, this is the most hilarious timing of all time. Like, Trevor's going to jinx this man out of a win. And so everyone's like going back and forth. And then they replay hole 16 at European Open, and AB's wearing the same shirt he's wearing. He's wearing the same jersey with the purple sleeves. And I was like, oh my gosh, Trevor, it goes deeper. He was wearing the same shirt. Like, we're watching this as the same thing happen.
This is a simulation.
But then no, the shirt is now his good luck shirt because it didn't happen. He held it together. He took a double on 17, par on 18, and it was enough to win by 1 over Ricky. Very impressive tournament out there for him. The thought that came to my mind, right, is we always ask, I wonder what would happen or like what could have been had Eagle not injured his shoulder.
Yeah.
AB might be that answer. When I was watching him, he reminded me a ton of like pre-injured Eagle, where he had all the distance in the world backhand. He has all the distance in the world forehand. He was throwing forehand shots that were just like mind-boggling how far out they were getting on like hyzers that slowly pushed up, and they just kept going and going and going, and they looked effortless. And his putt was like, he's built like Eagle. Everything about him kind of like screams Eagle McMahon as far as like his playing abilities. And Eagle was like just coming into his own, where it was like, all right, Eagle McMahon, who's going to beat Eagle? Like, the dude is just dominant right now. When he got injured, I feel like that we could be looking at that same thing for AB. Like, he just feels like it feels like now that he has this monkey off his back, we could be poised to see like every weekend AB's the guy to beat.
Yeah.
Will that happen? I don't know. It depends on like what this does for his mental state. He seemed like he was in a really calm, in control, you're gonna mess up, it's okay mental state this weekend, which is very dangerous.
That's the most.
good in a good way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I think that's what was best for him out there, was kind of having some grace for himself.
Yeah. It was very dangerous for the field, I guess I should say.
Yeah, that makes
because
sense.
like when you put that with the amount of arm talent and potential he has, like this guy could be the next thing, which is crazy because we have like 4 of the next thing in the field. I was actually looking at this, right? So the future of the sport was just on display this weekend. So I'm gonna just read you the top 20, okay? Because this field was full. Like this field is stacked. Like all kinds of players that you'll know the names of from years and years are there. But let me just read who rose to the top here, because this course was not an easy track. We'll talk about the course a little bit later, but love it. Anthony Barela, Ricky Wysocki, Aaron Gossage, Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, Isaac Robinson, Matty O, Gavin Rathbun, Jesse Niemanen, Nicholas Antela, Joseph Anderson, Gavin Babcock, Vino Makala, Matt Bell, Luke Humphreys, Ezra Robinson, Bradley Williams, Albert Tam, Simon Lizotte, Presnell, Brandon Brown, Nikola Castro, Adam Hammonds, Jakub Simmerod, and Casey White. There was a big tie for 17th, which is why you go to like 25 people. But in there is just so many of the like young, talented guys like getting themselves like even Gavin Rathbun. This was kind of like semi his return. Isaac Robinson's obviously a killer. Kyle Klein, Gannon Burr, like the top 5. Ricky Wysocki is the only non-up and comer in there.
Yeah.
The top 5's AB, Aaron Gossage, Gannon Burr, Kyle Klein, and then Ricky's in there. But those are all guys that are like the future of the sport. But then it just like keeps feeling like that. Like Gavin Babcock coming in 12th. Vino Makala is pretty young at 13th. Like Nicholas Antela is pretty young in 9th. Like Joseph Anderson, I believe, was a rookie last year, 2 years ago. Joey Buckets, he finished in 9th. He was in contention all weekend. Like this was just the young talent was just on display. Yeah. And I thought that was a very fascinating storyline to look at throughout the weekend.